name is Laura Poluka. Welcome to the Lunch and Learn here today at the Lancaster Chamber of Commerce. I'm really excited to be here. But before I get started with the presentation, one thing I want to ask you is, do you play nice in the sandbox? Mary Jo, do you play nice in the sandbox? Well, I think I do. Okay. Ron, do you play nice in the sandbox?
I think I do.
Okay. John, do you play nice in the sandbox? Okay, I see you nodding. You play nice also. Susie, do you play nice in the sandbox? Okay. All right, so it seems like we all play nice in the sandbox. But one of the concepts that we're going to talk about today is dysfunctions of a team. And this presentation is based on this book by Patrick Lencioni called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team outlines the root causes of politics and dysfunctions on the teams where you work, and also the keys to overcoming them. We need to counter conventional wisdom, identify the causes of dysfunction, and think about old habits. They don't die easily. Making a team cohesive and functional requires levels of courage and discipline that many groups have trouble mastering. So what we're going to look at today is if you really have a dysfunctional team. And I'm going to ask you, is this your team? Is your team all rowing in one direction? Mary, does your team all go in the same direction? Okay, I see you nodding. John, are you all focused on common goals? Okay, sometimes. Okay. So you said sometimes there's a lack of communication within your organization. Okay. Are you committed to a common purpose? Do you have performance goals? Are you all mutually accountable? And do you share responsibility? Well, if you answered yes to any of these questions, you could dominate the industry in any market, and you could come head to head with any of the competition. So really, what's going on? You need to ask yourself a couple of questions. Are you the cause of the problem? Are you the reason why the team is failing? You need to ask yourself, can we really make this happen? And identify, are we really dysfunctional? Are we imperfect human beings? Are we saying that this is impossible? Absolutely not. Truth be told, we are all imperfect human beings who are inherently dysfunctional. But are we doomed? Absolutely not. We can do this. Woohoo! You need to do a super job. And think about, you did this. I know you can do it. We need to build a strong team. And it's a very simple concept, but it can also be very painful at the same time. So, what do we need to do to be successful? We need to master those behaviors. So, when we think about mastering team development, is it really achievable? Well, theoretically, it's not hard. But we need to take the basic concepts of everyday life and put them into and build our team. But can we overcome? We absolutely can overcome. We need to overcome the tendencies that corrupt teams and breed those dysfunctional politics. So what I'd like you to do, before we get started and identify those dysfunctions of a team, I'd like you to write down 5 dysfunctions that you think impact a team. And I'll give you 3 minutes to do it. All right, great. Now that you've had an opportunity to do it, I'm going to go through the first one. And the first one is trust. Trust is the foundation for teamwork. Failure on the part of the team members to understand and open up to one another. Truth be told, this is absolutely the most common part of a team. You don't want to hold back. You want to share. You want to share information. You want to admit mistakes. And you want to share concerns. You don't want to be afraid. Number 2, fear of conflict. Mary Jo, I see your hand and I saw your face. You cringed when I mentioned conflict. Do you like conflict? I see you shaking your head no. Samantha, do you like conflict? I see you grinning. Oh, you like conflict, okay. Well, productive conflict makes us stronger. Conflict is often seen as a taboo, and many people will do anything that they can do to avoid it. But we need to think about, there are 2 types of conflict. There's productive conflict, and there's mean-spirited conflict, where people attack one another. We need to identify and engage in productive conflict amongst our teams to engage in a better solution. Number 3, lack of commitment. Do you often find yourself not buying into decisions? Are you afraid to commit or bind ties or set priorities? Do you often watch opportunities close due to excessive analysis? Do you foster a breeding ground, promoting lack of confidence and fear of failure? Do you continually revisit discussions and decisions over and over and over again? Do you encourage second guessing amongst your teams? Number 4, avoidance of accountability. It's the creation of resentment amongst team members who have difficulty or differences in standards of performance. Do we just say, you know what, we're just average and that's just good enough? Do we continually miss deadlines or key deliverables? Do we often place an undue burden on the team? And number 5, inattention to results. Are we stagnant? Do we fail to grow? Do we look at our competitors and not analyze the results and what we can do to achieve success? Do we have employees who don't care about achievement? Do we have employees and encourage team members to focus on themselves and their individual goals as opposed to creating a cohesive work group? Or do we have people that are easily distracted? Okay, so now that I've identified the 5 dysfunctions of a team, I'd like to see how many of you had identified 1 dysfunction. Okay, I see some hands. How about 2 dysfunctions? I still see some hands. How about the 3rd dysfunction? I see some hands. How about the 4th dysfunction? Okay, so the most we identified was 3. Can anyone tell me which one they think is most important? Susie Smith? Oh, okay, you said trust. Okay. Wait, why do you think trust is so important? Right. So your team comes together. Okay, so you're saying your team comes together and you feel like you can communicate. Okay, communication is an important part of teamwork. And getting to that point is critical, and it takes a lot of work, doesn't it? All right, so let's think about these dysfunctions. If so, now what do? We've identified these dysfunctions. So what do? Do we just panic? Do we forget about it? Do we just say, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired, and you're fired? Do we get rid of everybody? Do we pretend that the results aren't even true? No way. Let's go ahead and fix those dysfunctions. Let's put full steam ahead and work together as a cohesive unit. What we're going to do now is take a break. When you come back, I'm going to have you work on a worksheet where you're going to identify the goals for overcoming those 5 dysfunctions. All right, I'll see you after the break. Take 5 minutes.